Good morning. I wanted to make a quick video. This is a shout out to Clark and Addison Gaming Company YouTube channel. If you guys, I would like, I hope that most of my subscribers are aware of Brian. I've done an interview with Brian. I've talked about and play action football a ton. Um, but if you're not following, I think his two latest and greatest designs over on his channel, you need to as a sports tabletop fan. If you're not a fan of sports games, then obviously you won't care. But Diamond Dynasty, which he's been working on for quite some time, and his new drive-by-drive football game, both to me look to be fantastic. And I think they're both going to set a particular standard that I'm going to appreciate at my table in future. Hopefully, he's going to have these done and ready to go by holidays. I mean, I would love to be grabbing these for the Christmas season. Diamond Dynasty, I've said it before. I really, as an adult, appreciate a baseball on a level I never did, but I don't play many baseball tabletop games, partially because I just don't have the time to play most baseball sims to get where I want to get. One, two, I prefer fictional with career mode options because I don't know a ton about baseball current stars, and I don't know a ton about baseball history. So I always feel like I'm, at odds with the history that's in front of me, right? I don't feel as comfortable with that. So Diamond Dynasty is 100 and 200% what it is I'm looking for in fast play tabletop sports games. And this is important to me, and I've talked about this before. Game design is huge, right? Tabletop footprint is big. How efficient is the game from the actual dropping of the dice to extrapolating data to getting through a game in a reasonable amount of time? And then is there the option to watch these teams grow, develop, and change regularly, easily, right? I don't want it to be harder work to go through the off season than it is to play the games, but I want to see teams change. And I don't care how simple those rules are. But Diamond Dynasty looks to be, and I mean this, without a doubt, um, probably going to be on my table. I would think regularly, like fight card boxing, it's going to be on my table regularly. Diamond Dynasty is going to be on my table regularly. And again, his drive-by-drive football game, if indeed he can also fit the rating system that he uses for play action football to positively adhere to his drive-by-drive football game. Holy cow. Holy cow. So now we're talking about a full sim, right? His full sim has instant results, right? So if you want to just roll to find out who wins a game on the schedule, if you don't want to play out full 2 hour games, but then he's working on this drive-by-drive game, which started out, I think, as a more like a college fast play game, which is brilliant. You can see those games on the channel. But now it looks like he's trying to work in some pro football and the use of his play action football team ratings, which I love. And there'll be people who don't get it. It's so abstract, but I love the simplicity. I love games that can be accurate and keep things simple. And play action football uses simple ratings that tweak either the dice or I'm using those same ratings to tweak the express game, the full fast action card express game to tweak offense yardage, to tweak yardage yields. So I'm borrowing concepts that I used from my game, Flash Football, where the team ratings impact yardage yields. And over the course of a game, over the course of the season, we're going to see the better teams get better yardage. We're going to see the worst teams not get as much yardage. And the best defensive teams are going to cut down the yardage. And so it works. And it was designed for me to use with his play action football full sim, as well as hopefully drive by drive football. And these are, it's important to me too, and I've talked about this before, uh, that if you're going to design games, for instance, if you play my Big Country, if you play my football time game, you can also play my football time Definitive Edition, which has a full game simulator. So you can take your teams from the fast play version of the game and then say, today we're going to play every snap of every game. And I think it's important that your games, all of your versions are different styles of games, kind of support your flagship. So to see drive by drive football be able to support play action football, or vice versa. Play action football can support drive by drive football. I think these are very smart decisions because I've already owned 3 sets. I'm going to be buying 85 in 2007, so I'm going to end up with 5 or 6 sets of Brian's flagship football game. It would be great to know drive by drive football is going to be able to use all those seasons, right? And now I may be playing drive by drive more and then using play action, my fast action game for games I want to get full sim but quickly. And then for like the championship or the Super Bowl or the playoffs, you use the big boy simulator, right? So then there can be 3 phases of a brilliant football game that uses historical teams rated for play action football. And so this is very exciting for me because I love fast play games, but I like fast play games that show me details. And drive by drive football's got it in spades, right? In spades, there's highlights, there's big plays, there's kicks, there's batted pat. There's so we got a fast play game that shows these kind of big play moments, which is what I try to achieve with pen and paper football. I play in fast play, but I use a deck of cards to give me highlights. Well, it would be great if those highlights actually showed up while I'm rolling the dice, right? While I'm actually playing the game, those highlights show up for themselves. That is amazing. So, shout out. I want to put a link to Clark and Addison. If you are not subbed up to Brian's company, if you are not involved or don't play his games, my advice is check out his website, Clark and Addison Game Company. But you've got to follow some of his latest designs on his channel. These are 2 fantastic sports games that I think are going to change my table, right? I've got my boxing game. I'm almost certain fight card boxing is going to be the end of my search for boxing games that are fast, but also detailed, but also dynamic yet accurate. That's something that all of John Turnbull's games do. They give me accuracy, they give me speed of play, they give me a simple way to sit down and start dropping dice. There's not a lot of bells and whistles, and it all works out beautifully. Those clearly, I have 2 favorite game companies basically Powder Blue Sports and Clark and Addison Games. So I'm feeling pretty damn happy about my future at the tabletop sports. I mean, yeah, I have my own games, but it's kind of like your own games are kind of like reading your own books. I've written a book that obviously I'm very proud of, and I enjoy, and of course I can read it, but we never appreciate our own stuff like we appreciate the work of other people, at least unless you're a egomaniacal narcissist or something, you know. So I'm thrilled because Brian has got 2 sports games. And again, if his continued play testing of using his play action football historical team set teams with drive by drive football, holy cow, it's genius. And I think it's going to be remarkable. Diamond Dynasty, I fell in love with the first time I saw it, instantly fell in love with it, and it has come a long way. It's almost getting too, it's almost getting too uh, I won't say complicated, but it's almost getting the initial version of the game is like that. That's brilliant to stop right there, right? But he has further developed it, and it's gotten a little more complicated, and a little more detailed, and there's a lot more going on. And I don't knock that at all. I've said before, I think the best baseball game for a guy like me is dead ball baseball with dice because it's accurate as heck. It has a instant simulation engine, and you create your own teams. It's built perfectly, but I can also literally grab up a baseball digest, flip it open, and create that team from that season on the fly. So I can make any team in history as long as I have the information in front of me. I can use my baseball cards. If I'm a baseball card collector and I got a guy's card, I can say, well, I'm going to make this team. And you can literally translate that real data to dead ball baseball with dice. And it comes with a fictional kind of setting and world that is very inspirational to me, right? It can be any type of baseball, any era of baseball. I find myself gummed down by the process of dropping lots of dice and extrapolating data. And so I don't play baseball, dead ball with dice as much as I used to and as much as I'd like because I think I want it to be less work to resolve a game, right? And it's a full baseball simulator. And then there's an instant results game. I kind of want a baseball game that moves quickly through the ebb and flow, but also has less career advantages. New guys coming in, old guys leaving, trades, etc. This is where I think Diamond Dynasty by Clark and Addison Game Company is going to be it. It's going to make baseball a staple at my table because it's not even my own baseball games, which are fast, which have career modes. Um, I really desperately want a brilliant baseball game to play regularly because I really, at this age, really like baseball. The problem is I don't necessarily want to play an hour and a half to resolve games. I don't want to play full-blown Sims because I'm not a baseball aficionado when it comes to understanding all the subtle nuances of baseball. But I want to appreciate the long-term ebb and flow of the standings and of the players coming and going and winning. And I want to create my own memories. I like my own stars. I want my own players. And so Diamond Dynasty, man, really is going to be, I think, fantastic for me personally. So I'd like to think that if people like me and they kind of like the things I like, then I can't help but recommend Clark and Addison. And I'd like to think that many of my subscribers already are following Brian, but there are two coming that the only thing I've been more excited about lately was John's baseball boxing game. John's boxing game I've been pumped about since his initial, hey, this is what I'm looking at, this is how I'm thinking it's going to work, and I got super pumped because I knew what was coming with John, right? I knew what John was going to end with a phenomenal product. And so I already knew that this is just the beginning of where John was going. I knew that it was going to resolve itself in a way that it would be the perfect boxing game for me. So I'm that excited about Diamond Dynasty. I'm that excited about the future of drive-by-drive football or whatever he's going to call that. I don't know if it has an actual name right now. I'm not certain if it does. But, and if he can also make that support, the pro version, support play action football, then that's all the more reason for me to buy more play action football because I can use all those teams with an upcoming football game that's going to be phenomenal. And most of you will know, most likely, I'll be using Drive by Drive Football to play action football, or I'll be using my Fast Action Express version of the game to get through games quickly on the channel. And so it's important to me to think that down the road there could be more seasons, there could be more great versions of play action football, and there could be a secondary play-by-play version of football that supports those team sets. And then, of course, whether he publishes or uses my Express game or not, it's no big deal. It's up to him. He's got a lot of stuff going on, but I'll use it, right, for my games, right? So anyway, uh, if you're not subbed up, hit the link below. I'll put also a link to his website where you can look at his games and purchase his games too. Um, John, Powder Blue Sports, Brian's Clark and Addison Games, my two favorite sports games companies, bar none. I'm absolutely thrilled, and I can't imagine things getting better, but they are going to get better. We're going to get even more, right? John's got something coming, and just these two games by Clark and Addison is going to be fantastic. So, um, again, I've said it before, there's a lot to be excited about if you are a tabletop uh, uh, sports game hobbyist. There's so much to be excited about. Adele has published, I think, almost all of his games. They're all up on YouTube. I and Lulu, by the way. Dell has finished tennis and golf and bowling and darts. He has got this amazing, uh, uh, what am I say, catalog of time-based sports games that aren't traditional sports games, and they're fantastic. So take a look at those too. It's hard for me to plug my own stuff. It's hard for me to plug our company. I always feel like but yes, check those out too. All right. Everybody have a great week. I'm getting ready to play playoff game number 3. This is, of course, I'm using the Play Action Football Express game for our playoffs. And I'm getting ready to play that game. It's going to be Columbia at Carolina. Holy cow, is it going to be epic. And so I'm getting ready to play that game in a minute. So, all right, everybody, have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.